Yo, what's going on, guys? So this is Sam from the future. Where the video that you're about to watch has probably been maybe 6 months or so old. So that was back in 2019. Currently, right now, it is the beginning of February of 2020. So, as it's pretty obvious, if you follow along with Instagram and other social media like that, you'll see that, that things don't really line up as they're happening just because we're behind on YouTube. And, a lot of that is to always have content too. So, if we're always uploading content as we're doing it, with our busy lives and, working full time, going to school, doing all this stuff, with everybody, it's kind of hard to always have content. So being behind is not always a bad thing. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on where things are at and just kind of explain and give some clarity on just the kind of timeline of things that are happening. So the video that you're about to watch right now is, like I said, it was probably getting close to the end of summer of 2019. So that's what that video was on Warden. And there's actually a lot of things that have happened since then. So things have changed, and all I can say is just stay tuned, and we'll be keeping you guys updated on what's happened and what's happening. So bigger and greater things, big plans are happening in the process and coming along. So really excited for this, guys, and hope you enjoy this video that you're about to watch. But eventually, things will get a little bit more closer to time being caught up. So all right, guys, one more thing, a little heads up. The video that you are about to watch did take place a little bit before the timeline of the videos that we have just released, only because we just found the content for it, so we didn't want to just not release it. So just a little heads up that this video will be a little bit more in the past. So after this video, things will go back to the correct timeline of where we left off. So Warden being on the Pro Comp 40s and the black ATX slabs. Got the Intrinsic Offroad decal. It's like up here, but it was actually gecko green from Big Sauce, and we actually painted it with the color match, the same thing we did the wheels and everything with, and slapped it up there. It did pretty good. Had to do it like one by one, so it was kind of a pain, but might be changing the placement on that. Here is Big Sauce's old tie rod. I saved it. This is already powder coated gecko green for Big Sauce. So what I did is I sanded it down, just kind of, you guys can see there, it is nice and sanded. Probably will touch it up a little bit more and finish it up so it'll be nice and ready for paint, clean it off, all that good stuff. But I've already got the ends taped off perfectly, so the paint will be getting in the threads, obviously, so that is good there. Gonna be paint matching this to Commando green to match the diff covers and the rings. So here we are 2 weeks, or no, this is probably this is about a week later after we just did the oil pressure sensor and spark plugs. Got everything back together pretty much, but the engine code did end up coming back like a day after the initial repair. So that's obviously going to be the thermostat still. So we're gonna go ahead and knock that out right now. Shouldn't take too long. So what I'm going to start with is taking off the intake, which should not take too long. Just some flathead screws to loosen up the hose clamps, obviously pull that off, and then a lot better access to our thermostat down here. 3.6 is a little bit complicated because everything is, there's just a lot of plastic that's pretty much hiding everything else. So anyways, should not be too long. Gotta find a way to mix up some coolant, get ready to drain, get a tub ready for that so we can recycle that later. You guys can see on the back side we have engine oil. I mean, it's to be expected with higher mileage engines, so could always install like an oil catch can or something, but definitely oil getting in the intake there. Yeah, so we're gonna make sure this is cleaned up too and clean this out again. So yeah, there is the thermostat though. So we have a bolt here, a bolt on the bottom, and then obviously your hose clamp right here. So should be pretty easy. You're gonna have to kind of battle with this for a little bit. There's a plastic bleeder valve, so it should not take too much to pull this off. So we're gonna have our coolant catch bucket here underneath, obviously. So we're gonna try to look up, see where that's gonna drop down, and make sure that we don't have any extra spillage going on here. All right, so we got our intake plugged up there with a rag so we can ensure that no debris or water is gonna really get into that. That helps a little bit. Got a clean gallon jug, so we're gonna be using that to mix up. So we've got a gallon of water, distilled water, I'm pretty sure, and then obviously the coolant concentrate. This is gonna be the orange coolant. Like I said earlier, it could be purple, it could be orange, but that's what's in the Jeep, so I'm gonna stick to that. So this is gonna be poured into here. We're gonna do half and half mix. Probably gonna make 1 gallon, so half of this, and we're gonna be using that to refill once we take the thermostat off and it leaks all the other coolant out. All right, so here we are, top view, bird's eye view. Gonna be looking here at the thermostat. So got a 10 millimeter ratchet right here. Pretty sure that these bolts are not really torqued a whole lot. Well, probably gonna pull this hose clamp off before I back these all the way out, obviously, because this is gonna need some force. But anyways, once I pull this hose clamp back, I'm gonna try to wiggle this hose off of this, and then once that happens, I'm sure coolant's gonna start flooding down there to our catch bucket tub, whatever you want to call it. And then once this comes off, coolant's gonna start coming out of the block. The Jeep is sitting on a hill, kind of like squatted like this, so it probably will retain a little bit more than if it was flat. All right, hose is off. You guys can see, started coming out pretty rapidly there. As you can see, it made a big mess. Coming down here, see it's still dripping. Gotta make sure I rinse off all of this, especially on this fresh paint and all that good stuff. Did get a couple splashes on the ground, but most of it is in here, which is what's important. Definitely gonna make sure this gets diluted on the ground after we're done. Rinse this down because we do not want any coolants available for animals or pets. Do not want to have them trying to drink this or lick this, because it can kill them. You know, it's kind of sweet, so they're gonna naturally want to try to lick it up. So all right, just rinsed everything off again pretty thoroughly. Also rinsed off from the top, so that way we can make sure we get all this up here. Being careful not to get water in the intake or anything like that where it's not supposed to be. But Next, we've got to take off this gasket right here from the old one. Got to make sure that that gets off 100%. And it's kind of like really stuck on there and brittle. Gonna probably take a plastic scraper, nothing to scar the surface, and clean out this area right here for the new one. But I make sure those are torqued properly and equally on both sides. Surface is clean, gasket is clean, gasket is in there, so we should be good. So all I got to do now is slide the hose clamp. Got lots of bubbles coming up. Squeezing the bottom hose, squeezing the top hose, giving it some revs. Got some bubbles going up. She taking coolant slowly. It's taking a while though. Well, coated the entire engine bay in simple green once I got everything, and taking all that sealed back up and the cover back on top so no water gets in between the block there. But coated everything in simple green and gave it a really nice rinse. Looking pretty good. There's still a few more spots I probably need to hit later, but an overall clean, better than it was. So yes, looks a lot better. Making sure everything is good and sealed back up and ready to roll. We'll be air drying this out for the rest of the day, and then also we'll be using the blow dryer, leaf blower, electric leaf blower, to get all the water out of the engine bay as well. All right, all the coolant's rinsed out now. We're good to go. I've loaded all the old coolant and some of my old engine oil collected in here, so I'm going to take it to my local shop that's going to help recycle, dispense it for me.